Hi, the TAKful Creator here. Okay, let's get started. May God the Creator bless us. May God the Redeemer heal us. May God the Holy Spirit enlighten us. Give us eyes to see, ears to hear, and hands to do the work of God. Feet to walk the path of justice, and mouths to preach the good news. May the angel of peace, prosperity, love, abundance, guidance, grace, mercy. Interesting. Health and healing watch over us and lead us to the reign of God. Ashe. Okay, y'all saw all that, right? Or a piece of it at least. So sheesh, give it a break. Let's break this up. All right. Yeah, this perfectionist energy that is looking at the bigger picture, we're not tapping into that right now. Okay. So what do we need to know? The information that is being placed on the board, and very, very simply, I might add. Okay. So I'm being called to read it not in the direction that we already saw with the prayer, but in reverse. Okay, and it's going to make maybe a little bit more sense in reverse than it did forward. Okay, because the way it forward, I was like, oh my gosh, just reading about to be chaotic. Who they talk about? Oh my God, I'm about to ask my guys. And then now I'm like, oh, okay, hold on. It's preparation. We're seeing the finish line to the start line, opposed to the start from the start line to the finish line. Okay, all right. So, hi, Divine. Hey, can you show me no? Thank you. Yes. Thank you that we're on the right track and that we're on the wrong track and we need to kind of double back. Okay, all right, much appreciated. Thank you. And please clear it. Okay, so yeah, I'm working on something a little bit new with the pendulum. Let me know if, you guys are able to decipher on your end, and, if I should actually open up a class for this. Actually truly enjoy all my pendulums. But I'm gonna go back to the reading. Okay, so someone's a super simp, right? First and foremost, someone's a super simp, and this person is proceeding with caution because they're super simp. Now, they don't want to appear that way. So to the general public, they want to seem like this esteemed person that is kind of like edgy, that's kind of like independent, but independent in a way where the necessity for other people is there. It's just not dependent. You get what I'm saying? It's like, I need you guys there, but not because I need you. I need you guys there because people need to be there. You get what I'm saying? It's a very like detached, casual vibe to it. And when in actuality, this person in their mind is like, I need you there, I want you there all the time, please be there, please be there, right? And let me know if I'm correct. All right, should I shift anything? No, okay, because we have this proceed with caution. So I just want to make sure that the energy that I'm displaying with this super simp is contingent with the energy that's in the reading. Okay, this person most likely is a caregiver of children or has a personality that would be wonderful around children. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Maybe this person has children and they're not really being a caregiver, right? Maybe they super simp over their children. Right now, we're just knowing that with this entire situation, we need to proceed with caution because the way that it looks is not actually how it is. Okay? And we're being called to see past the cover-up. I'm sure that card's going to come out at some point, but to see past the cover-up, okay? So we have this proceed with caution, all right? And give it a break. Why? We have this turquoise energy. Now, when you think of the color turquoise, what is the first thing that comes to mind? Me? The ocean. That's what I think of. I think of that in between the green and the blue, that transition phase, that I am moving from one solid foundation to the next solid foundation, and the only way for you to do that is kind of to be fluid, just plainly to be fluid. How do you best move in fluidity? Water, like, go swimming, I don't know, boat. Like, if you think of fluidity, you think of water. So turquoise is the transition of fluidity. That could be crying, that could be urinating, that could be sweating, it's the transition of fluidity. Turquoise could be purging. Now, when we think of the color blue, it is sadness, it could be deep sorrow, it could be healing. But when we think of turquoise, it's kind of moving away from that. Green is the color of life and vibrance and cultivation, progression, luck. So if we're moving out of that healing phase and into that progression and luck phase, what are the emotions that are attached to that? something that's very chaotic. What you see is not necessarily what you get, right? Because we can say this is green, but someone else can come up and say, well, this is blue. And someone else can come up and say, well, no, that's green. At the end of the day, it's turquoise. It is the combination of both of them. It can't be one solid on either, because it is that gray area in between. It's that transition. So we give it its own name. That is what we're doing here. Proceed with caution, because we're not on one side of the fence, nor are we on the other side of the fence. We're in that transition phase. So the super simp may be a super simp internally. And externally, everything is pushing for him to show that. Everything is pushing for her to express that. But they're not doing that. How come? Well, for one, social expectations. The social brainwashing that we talk about all the time, of other people saying, you know, this would be right. We see you in this light, and that's right. If we see you in something else, or we see you doing something else, that's wrong. That's why the super simp is covered up, because they've existed in the world in such a robust, grandiose, callous way, to where they invite so many people in, but there's so many brick walls that for anyone to see this soft, vulnerable side of them, confirmation, for anyone to see this soft, vulnerable side of them, they would have to, for one, either be the children, or be like a child, someone who is naturally in their innocence or vulnerability, or someone that this person can feel childlike with. Okay? And if that's only one individual, then it's really difficult for the entire world around them to see them in that light, right? Because they only show up like that for one person. They don't show up like that for everybody. They would have to show up like that for everyone for them to be their authentic self, which means be a super simp externally, and then people say, well, either way, we're going to have to deal with this, so we accept it, right? And if we don't accept it, we move on, and the people who do accept it will be there. Okay, so that's what we're getting by this turquoise, right? Now, there's something cooking in the kitchen. We're not getting the theoretical sense. We're getting a symbolic sense. So either the super simp enjoys chefing it up, enjoys food, enjoys maybe other people chefing it up for them, planning on cooking something for children, and that's how they're being a super simp. But they need to proceed with caution, because there might be some maybe allergies, or there, you know, some chaos over what the meal is for the children. I mean, you can cook all you want, but if the kids don't eat, then what? Now, we can think about that symbolically. If we're talking about just a person who is getting past his own blockages, right? Because he's not showing his inward self with his outward self, and it has nothing to do with physical kids. It just has everything to do with how he's showing up in the world. Well, in him nourishing himself, right, it is constantly him feeding himself with all the information he would need. He's not allowing other people to feed him. He's not, and when he does allow other people to feed him, it's in an environment that is masked. You know, it's a fake environment. You know, people, they have a script, and this is how they're supposed to show up. So then he knows how he's supposed to show up, or she knows how, confirmation, or she knows how she's supposed to show up. But the issue is, if this super simp is not seeing the connection with what he's allowing personally, or what she's allowing personally within them, the outward world, if that has something to do with children or not, if that has something to do with just the overall collective or not, won't treat him or her in that light. Okay, now I'm really getting him. Maybe it's a masculine energy here, because being a super simp, I'm thinking, you know, feminine energy, but it could be a female, a woman, a girl, whatever, that is showing up in a masculine light to shield the super simp in her. Okay, she is super emotional. She is super in touch with the raw feelings that come with everyday activities. Okay, so she might be a super simp for life, or she might be a super simp for an individual. We're not sure yet. We just know there's one set energy we're talking about. However, how she's showing up to other people is that she is super independent. She doesn't need anyone. She doesn't want anyone to do anything for her. She doesn't want anyone to talk to her about anything. Like, she can't be told about herself. And that's where we get, she is possibly only nourishing herself. She's not allowing other people to nourish her, other people to give her information that will change her genetic coding for the better. You get what I'm saying? That's what food does. It changes your genes. It makes your muscles stronger, your body stronger, or it makes, your organs have the ability to detox and all these other stinks. Oh my gosh. All this other stuff. So stink. I know I'm going on a tangent, but whenever something stinks or doesn't smell good, it's symbolic of negative energy or demonic energy, right? So having something stink be attached to this super simp feel is that she leaves a stench behind her of arrogance. Okay? And again, like the male, unless people are with her showing up in a childlike fashion, or if they're physical children, she's not showing that compassionate, nurturing, motherly, the real feminine version of herself. Okay? She's showing up as someone who is bad and bougie. All right? And that's why, I'm moving into the maybe it's a female with a masculine vibe to her. But then also, this could definitely be a male that is using hypermasculinity to shield the femininity, the healthy femininity that he doesn't want other people to see because he feels like it's weak. Okay? So in a sense, he's also being bad and bougie. Okay? He's being bad, doing bad things, and having a grandiose nature to him, which is kind of bougie, but is kind with the terminology bad and bougie. It is, you have your nose kind of stuck up in the air. Even though you may not necessarily have all the criteria to do that, right? Because most people who have the criteria to stick their nose up in the air, they wouldn't, because they realize they have the criteria and other people don't. But with them, they don't necessarily have it. They just have the feeling of it. And so with most things that are feelings, it doesn't look appealing. And so that's it. Walking around with your nose turned up is not mean, if you ask me. It's not really appealing. And so with them showing up as this bad and bougie person, it's going to be costly. Why? Because most people with bad and bougie, they like to fit the bill on stuff. They like to spend more money than they're supposed to look extravagant, to look like, they can do it all themselves, when in actuality, it's not really feasible. But because they want to live this lifestyle of other people viewing them in this light, it's costly. Not really expensive, because they're people, they have a certain level of common sense. They're spending money on things that money would have to be spent on to look a certain way. They're not spending extra for that stuff. They're spending the necessary amount. So it's costly to them. In essence, they're not even supposed to be spending that amount if they were to let go of this mask and show up as the super simp that they actually are, okay? And force people to accept that version of them, so that they don't have to keep putting on a new mask and a new mask and a new mask with whomever they frequent, right? Why? Because there's some inner teenage healing, right? That's why this bad and bougie is all showing up. This is inner teenage healing, but it's costing them. It's definitely costing them. And then we have the color lime. What is their cost? What is it costing them? Well, lime can be the combination of the color green and the color yellow, right? It's kind of like a yellow-green, but pushing more on the green side. So with yellow, we're getting something of jubilance, of happiness, abundance. We're also getting something of cowardice. We're also getting jauntiness, so maybe a bit of sickliness. So we can see where this inner teenage healing has to come from, because there's a bit of sickly nature to it, that yellow. That sickly nature. But in combination with the green, it's a luck to it. Why? Because there's healing, right? There's healing that's involved here. So whatever healing that's taking place inside is going to push outside. If we just said there's just teenage healing that's here, right? That just means that the person needs to have that healing process. Okay, it doesn't mean that the person's undergoing it. It doesn't mean that the person has the potential to. We can see it in the cards. No, it just means that this person is acting out in a way that they probably did when they were a teenager, and they need to stop it. Who cares if they really get that lesson? No one's going to teach them. But then with this inner aspect here, we're showing that there is a function, that there's a functionality happening. Example, your organs are inner. They are working for your highest good, or for whatever good they possibly can, without your knowledge. You can be asleep, you can be awake, which is conscious and unconscious. It's not until you fully die that all of your organs say, you know, we're gonna fail at the same time, and then go to nothingness. Okay, so just like this inner aspect to this teenage healing, it's happening. It's in the process. We see it. The awareness is there. The progression is active. But because the progression is active, this bad and bougie nature is really at the forefront. It's different when, you know, you don't know you're acting like something, and people are just like, oh, people are saying it. Oh, people might be saying it. People might be saying it. And then it's another thing where it's just like, you're in your inner teenage healing phase, and it's like, wow, is this how I showed up? Excessively bougie when I went to parties and I thought I was the host, and I was just an active participant. Bad at events when I thought, you know, I could ruin the event with all my emotions, opposed to, you know, seeing that maybe I need to do a little bit more with seeing why other people have their emotions and easing the tension in the room. Okay, having better ideas so that bad behavior doesn't happen at events. Why? Because in my ideas, in my perception, I am changing my internal compass to be more positive, to be more graceful, to be a higher vibrational. What does that do? It makes the aura around me emanate that same light. So now everyone else around me is seeing, involving themselves, being attracted to that light. Not attracted to the inner chaos I am choosing to push to the side because I don't feel like this inner teenage healing is of the top importance. It is. And then once this inner healing is made to be that priority, this convertible top vibe, this true bad and bougie vibe that is not a mask, that's not a cover-up, can truly emanate. But you can't be this convertible top like, no, I am the individual, the energy you should be looking at driving down the street, you know, walking into the building. You can't be this person unless you're able to be your authentic self, no matter how much other people may judge you for it. Because if not, and you ignore this teenage healing, you're going to show up like this, and these people are still going to mistreat you. You just may lack the awareness to see that they're mistreating you. Now you're stuck in karmic cycles. Okay, so allow me to be the teacher. Okay, listen to a few songs that pop into your mind. Okay, and maybe not pop into your mind, because I've been doing this lately where songs that pop into my mind have reminded me of negative times, and I've noticed rather based on my experiences that it could be seen as a psychic attack with certain songs. So I've learned that maybe to offer a neutral ground to the music messages is maybe listen to the radio, or go to someone else's playlist and shuffle their playlist. Go to a playlist that's already made and shuffle that, so that you don't know any of the songs on there, and then you can get the messages that are specifically in those songs that could assist you in your process, right? In essence, teaching you the ways of the world, socially, emotionally, ethically, so that you can progress in a way that you didn't progress in elementary school or high school. Okay, because we're not really getting grade school vibes. We're not getting, I throw a rock at you, you throw a rock at me, ha 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 ha. No, we're not, it's not that. We're getting more like leaving elementary, going into high school. This is a scary new environment. There's a lot of change here. How do you adapt? Okay, well, we see certain cliques. Which one do we want to adapt to? They're all wearing masks. I see how I show up in the world, and I don't know how I should show up for them. And a lot of the time, I use the I statements in my readings to offer comfort to people. I realize a lot of the things that I say is harsh truths. So if I keep saying you're going to feel like I'm attacking you. But I know at one point in my life, I've said this to me, or at one point in my life, I've said this to me in front of someone else so that they can be comfortable enough to be like, you know what, I struggle with that too. And maybe I don't struggle with it. Maybe it's something I've seen someone else struggle with and I've learned from it. It's just easier for me to talk about with other people in a way that they can say, you know what, because you attached it to yourself, I can attach it to myself too. Okay, so that's what I'm doing here with you guys. Like, anything I express to you in this reading is a healing process I've already triumphed, and the divine tests me regularly. So again, I wouldn't speak on anything if I didn't have excessive experience in it. Trust and believe. And if I don't have that experience and I'm called to discuss something with you all, you already know based on my previous readings, I'll say, okay, I'm being guided. I will have to do previous research, usually before I discuss this with you, but I haven't. So I'm learning this with you right now, and I will do my research after this so I have more information for the next time. And that's always my shtick. It's been that way since I was a child, and I don't think it's going to ever leave me because it is the best way to operate. And I believe that's also how this person needs to operate. Okay, stop thinking everything's a scam, everything's a likely scam because everything's untrustworthy. That's what happens when you first walk into high school. You think everything's a scam because you saw what happened on TV and you saw how people want to use and abuse, right? Well, it's not really like that anymore, right? High school, people use and abuse, but now there's systems in place where if you really feel like you can't show up as yourself, there is a whole clique of people who can't show up as themselves that are willing to be your rock, be your ride or die. Okay, but you have to see the aspects of yourself that your subconscious is screaming out to you. These music messages will help. And not only will you be able to see the messages that are screaming out to you, it's also a therapeutic opportunity to purge your emotions, i.e., a healing phase that can truly be healing. Okay? Now, we have this scam likely falling on its head, so we know it's not a scam anymore, right? And it's falling right next to this connection, the twin flame connection. We know the twin flame connection is not a scam. We don't have to worry about that. Why? Because whatever people have cooked up in the past that this energy accepted and cooks up for themselves of people pleasing, giving it until they no longer can give it, or forcing other people to people please them until they literally give up. They've realized that they need to let go of this in order to really be a part of a connection that mirrors their true, authentic soul. Okay, it could be a twin flame connection, girl and guy. I'm really getting like just twin connections, not twin flame. Like, it could be a twin flame. Like, I'm definitely getting with you having this personal alignment. Your twin flame is going to be there, ride or die, no problem. But it's also not just that one person, as we talked about earlier. Not just one person. It needs to be the collective energy. You got to show up with almost everyone like this. How do you do that best? Well, first, you see the parts of you that needs to adapt to the version of you that feels whole and complete without anyone else around. Now, how do we push that with other people? Because you feel whole internally, the other people's frequency won't align with your frequency that aren't whole. So they're going to be pushed out the way. The people who are whole then are going to naturally gravitate to you. I.e., you're going to connect to people with like minds and like hearts. People who mirror the twin in you. Okay? But that only comes from you accepting the version of you and letting that version of you be you. Okay? You can't accept anyone else's authenticity if you're not showing up in your authenticity with everyone. Well, I only show up with this one person, so if you want to show up with me like that, you gotta be like this because I'm being like this with you. You see? That's not a good mind state to have if you want twin connections. You want your soul family to be here. No matter what age, it doesn't matter what face, they all feel like they're a part of you. They feel like they're one with you, whole. That idea of a family that you thought you were supposed to have growing up that apparently no one in the world really got to have, right? You're calling in that soul tribe that have that has absolutely nothing to do with blood. It has everything to do with your soul's journey, your soul's alignment, okay? Now, teacher, someone who is psychopathic, okay, and someone who is sociopathic. This is the energy of the masks. Get this, and we can confirm. Are we talking about an actual psychopath here? Are we talking about a sociopathic energy here? No. Are we talking about anyone that is on the spectrum of that? No. But we are talking about someone who can be viewed that way because the behavior that they show up in, the light that they show up in, is like a sociopath taking from them in a vamping kind of way, sucking their energy dry, sucking the resources from them, sucking the life force from them because they feel like it's a one-way street. Psychopathic nature, which is doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and expecting something different just because it's with different people. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over. If it's different people, if it's the same person, it doesn't matter. A psychopath will just keep doing the same cycle with different people, thinking that because it's a different person, it's going to have a different outcome. Not really seeing that everything is internal and it has to, begin with you. So, this person's mask, either female, male, just know that they're showing up in a toxic light, right? This mask has to be ripped off. And I'm seeing this lacking, right? I'm seeing this in this turquoise color, turquoise. I'm seeing it in this color. And then I'm seeing the blue, lacking. So, with this card, this transition phase is moving to healing. It's moving to the process of healing so that it can go into a different turquoise, to a different green, okay? And that's so interesting how life is cyclical. The color spectrum doesn't change. It's what does this spectrum tell you right now in this moment, okay? This color spectrum is telling us this turquoise transition phase of having this mask on is not going to assist us in helping the overall vibration level up. This super simp needs to be a super simp with everyone else so that this serendipity, this bliss can be imminent. And this kitchen energy, not the kitchen itself, physical food, energetic nourishment. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the mental processes to form perceptions to stuff into a family dynamic. We're talking about prepping the grocery list to even know what groceries to bring in the house, to even know what to cook. That's what we're talking about here. Okay? But that only happens if you let go of the mask. If you're too busy juggling masks, you can't figure out how to help an entire generation. You're juggling. Let go of the juggling so you can hold what is the heaviest thing out there. The livelihood for your soul. Because your soul is connected to everyone else. That's called the collective. So you're doing it for yourself. If everyone's happy in the world, you're happy. Ha! That's how that works. I know in a room full of miserable people, it's almost impossible to be the happy person there. So that's why we're all raising the collective vibration, because in a world where everyone's happy, we get to be happy without all the effort of being happy. I.e., the Garden of Eden. The concept of it anyway. Okay, so we're gonna move on from that because this is lengthy reading. We have this lavender vibe, right? What is lavender? You think of the actual incense, which I have over here, and that is to calm, to give a tranquil nature, to pacify. The color is a symbol of elegance, like premature royalty. Think of like a princess opposed to a queen. You can think of purple as true royalty, the king and queen. But if you think of lavender, you think of the prerequisite, the beginning stages of that. Okay, so if once we have that narrowed down, what does lavender mean in a few different colloquial ways? How is it showing up with the turquoise as a partner? Well, turquoise is transition, and the lavender is not fully in alignment. It's in transition too. So if lavender is the process of being a princess or a prince, You're not there yet. Okay. Why? Out without a paddle, not accepting the training that is being offered. This death and rebirth process is in transition. The rebirth is when this lavender will be in lavender full throttle, and then maybe we can get that purple card flopping out here. Pushing the, okay, we're ready for the next level of being true regality, right? Independent regality. Lavender is more of a dependent, not codependent, but because that would be in reverse, but an independent dependent, if that makes sense. You are out for yourself, but you still require other people to offer the bare necessities, which could be the training, because you're out without a paddle, right? Now, there's something about a chiropractor or spa. I'm not really getting the government authorities. That could happen if this is not accepted properly. Just like we won't have peace collectively if we don't see that we need to transition to peace, right? So chiropractor spa, you're gonna have to kind of break your back here. Break your back to see that narrow light and see what you have to do. And this might happen after midnight. If you see that you're a different person after midnight than you are during the day, see why. What's the environment after midnight that has you be that person? Okay, well, can you replicate that environment during the day if that's going to have you be in this energy? Or can you replicate the environment during the day at night so that you can remain in this energy? Okay, so that's what I'm getting here, because at the end of the day, we're proceeding with caution because we know the end result. We went from the finish line to the start line. We already know what's going to happen. What's going to happen? Well, someone's going to be creative, most likely go into a mature stance. We were talking about a female and moving in maybe a toxic masculine light. Okay, well, now this is a grown woman. Hey, but in this, they can do whatever they want. Is because they have found the freedom internally. They have unlocked that internal freedom to live the life that they've envisioned for themselves, that they've crafted for themselves, right? And if we're talking about the masculine, he's letting his feminine energy be in a mature light, because immature feminine energy is very squeamish and shy and doesn't want to be at the forefront. But a mature female is like, no, you're going to see me. You're going to see me in all my essence and all my glory, like the queen I am, right? So that's what I'm getting here. If this is a man shielding his feminine energy is maturing into a light that is saying, no, you're going to see me. You're going to see me be the super simp like I am with people who have me be in a childlike energy. And I'm going to do this boldly, but graciously and humbly, right? Because then we get this orange vibe that we're talking about, this bold yet gracious and humble. We're also getting this red vibe where it's that passion that's being pushed. It's necessary. The passion is necessary because you're breaking into a new cycle. We said transition. You're going from one to the other. It's not the easiest, right? It's like coming out the womb. You know, it's not like the gates open and you just walk out, right? It's kind of like coming out of a cocoon for a butterfly. The cocoon doesn't just part the sea like the Red Sea with Moses. No, it is more so you have to push the envelope a little bit so that you can break past the barrier and see all that is unfolding on the other side. What's unfolding on the other side? This version of you being completely gone. It's gone. Removed. This untrustworthy nature, planting seeds in gardens. And what I mean by that is being an antagonizer, right? You kind of manipulating situations so that you can be aggressive or mean or callous type of thing. Like you're planting seeds to create havoc, to be untrustworthy, to be pissy. Like you're removing all of that. Right? This Gemini devil energy is no longer here. Why? You're pushing past the veil and moving in this orange light. Realize the red is encompassing it. It's protecting this bold nature of ethical and morale to be at the forefront, but also at the heart, at the center. There's a heart right there at the center. Okay? Now, whatever social media post that was given in the past, or whatever social media that the algorithm is offering you, memes and stuff that is telling you about some kind of mental state, take heed. Okay? It's going to elaborate further on what is to come and what you should be working for and what you actually should be fighting for. Okay? If you're posting on your social media and you're not fighting for the things that you're posting on your social media, maybe you shouldn't be posting about those things. You know, I see a lot of people posting about like Chargers and the best kind of cars, but then, you know, they're riding the bus. Okay, maybe post about something more relatable so you can break past that veil. If you weren't paying attention to the cocoon, you wouldn't be able to break past the cocoon. If you're only paying attention to darkness, you wouldn't be able to feel around you to see that it's a cocoon that's flimsy that you can just push through. All right. So there's going to be some kind of seasonal shift or change with the Taurus that may not have been shown in their highest vibrational light. Right. But realize this Taurus who's not showing up in their vibrational light is because this super simp is being guarded and imprisoned in a sense. Okay, because with the Taurus, it's grounding. We have the rocks here that are being hidden. It's grounding nature. It's that sense of Gaia, of Earth, of connection, of belonging, of interconnectedness. Honestly, Taurus is of creation, really. First is there's a thought. Then there's creation. So if we're talking about the zodiac signs, what is before Taurus? Aries, and that's the first of the zodiac. Aries is the thought. It is that passion, that red, that passion. What comes next? The creation. That's Taurus. Now, this seasonal shift is going to turn Taurus on his head. There's the creation, the physical of you putting the energy out there is unnecessary now because you did the internal healing. Now you're emanating that, and whatever you were working for so much in the 3D, it's just going to be attractive. And as I said that, the camera shut off. Okay, so exactly, period is done. It's done. Whatever quarrel fight that they were having internally, maybe after school on a certain day, it's gone. And evidence needs to be needed. Evidence is necessary. Evidence is needed to show that this person's being a super simp with everyone. Not that they've changed. We all know that they've changed. We wouldn't have this reading unless we were being shown that this person needs to give whatever they're doing a break for life and continue on their journey cautiously, because the spiritual is truly guiding this path. Okay, this psychology student or the ethereal realm acting as a psychology student is going to give a few additional divine tests to see what you're going to do in front of certain people you wouldn't necessarily want to be a super simp in front of. Okay? And it's a solo mission. 007. It's time for you to conquer. You said that you changed as an individual. You're super simp inward and outward because you're authentic. You can live in this youthful energy for life, this eternal youth energy, because you are aligned with the divine. How do you best do that? By completing this solo mission. Going out in front of all those people, all those naysayers that said you're better with the mask, and showing them how you're better with the mask off. And they're not necessary in your life if they don't want to take that mask off as a gesture of connection, not a gesture of pushing away. Okay? And then boom, we have this New Year's Eve, right? This, we're partying, we're celebrating this. We it's done. It's good. It's good. It's done. Like we said, this connection, this twin flame connection, this soul connection that you have with you and your most intimate self has now enveloped the entire environment around you, because you purified, you've cleansed, you've detoxed. Evidence might be necessary by you, like, truly showing off this new bodysuit you have on, type of thing. But it's going to be a New Year's celebration. Like, you're stepping into this new territory. And for all these people who are looking into why you're doing this transition, why you even feel like it's necessary for you to be a new version of yourself, a better version of yourself, let's leave them where they are, right? Because what's happening right after you leave them where they are, the divine is blessing you financially with a bank or credit loan, maybe an additional check, whatever abundance you were calling on. That's what I'm getting here. You will be blessed with, but it's not necessarily material. It has everything to do with building for the future. So you're getting resources right now. That's what you're being blessed with. Resources. So that you can put these resources in other places, like a plant, and let that plant grow. Put these seeds in different places that have already germinated and let it grow into this beautiful, amazing thing, right? With this eternal youth. But that means these brown nosers have to, again, be left after school. Period is done. Okay? But I believe that's all. So let's ask our guides. Is that all? All that we need to? Yeah? Okay, awesome. Well, so I thank you all for being here. If you watched all this reading, part 1, part 2, all of this, I appreciate you. You're so awesome. I appreciate the likes, the subscribes, the shares, everything that you're doing to offer the energetic compliance and upgrade that is allowing me to fully dive into this spiritual journey with you, even though you're not present here with me. I truly appreciate you. Okay, I'll see you soon. Yeah, until the next.